welcome to the Blessed Children of God family. We are glad to have you. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you would like to join in on some conversations with thought-provoking topics, feel free to join us on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We look forward to seeing you there. Continue to be blessed. For your likes, for your shares, for your positive and encouraging comments, for subscribing to this channel, and for your monetary donations to this channel. I just want to simply say thank you. I truly appreciate your support. May God continue to bless and keep you all. Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me very well? Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, thanks, Real. Thank you, beautiful Senna. So, again, I apologize, you all, for the technical difficulty, but prayerfully, it's all good from now, for the entire live. So, happy Thursday to everyone. Happy second Thursday of the year. So, you all see the question. I'm going to pin it. Thank you, Senna. I'm going to pin the question. Feel free to answer the question in the chat. So before I get started, yes, me too, Senna. I didn't know what was going on. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge everyone who has spoken in the chat. First, beautiful Senna, then beautiful Abril, Pelu, my peer SBK, Real. I see Yasmin. Someone said hi to Larry, but I don't see Larry. I didn't see Larry in the chat. But if you are here, Larry, I can't see you, but hello. Thank you for joining. Then we have someone with MM2 that says they're a child. I guess it's okay for a child to be here because we're just talking positivity. And who that? Hey, who that? Happy Thursday. I hope all is well with you. So if anyone wants to answer the question, feel free to put it in the chat how you handle conflict. Yes, Bushes, thanks for joining as well. Excuse me, y'all. Thanks for joining from the Bushes. We truly appreciate your support. However you support, we appreciate it. So it looks like Okay, so Abril, you said Larry is in other feed. I should see both, but I don't um see him. I don't know what's going on. But Larry, if you are there, please put something in the chat so I can see if I see you. Maybe I just um missed seeing your name, but I scrolled up and I still don't see it. What I'm talking about verbal. Whew. Um, Thank you for making that comment. It all depends on what kind of conflict, verbal, physical, or internal. We're talking about verbal conflict today. Okay. Abril said it depends. Senna says, I handle conflict with active listening and a lot of communication for the most part. If I don't really care about who has conflict with me, I just block and ignore. Yeah, I agree with that. Abril said that she and Real are thinking alike. So I'm going to tell you all about how I feel to say that none of us are perfect, and nobody but God is always right. So we can be wrong, and that means everybody. Um, but I believe, hey Joe, how are you today? I believe that the breakdown or cause of a lot of um, the demise in relationships is the lack of effective communication. That's wonderful, Joe. I'm doing well, thank you. Surreal says, in all honesty, it depends on how I'm feeling, but for the most part, ignore unless it's something you have to defend against. Okay. So we can miss an opportunity to learn from others when we refuse to communicate properly. Far too often, we don't really listen to what others have to say because we are too anxious to say what we have to say. Hey, Janice. Happy Thursday. How are you today? Absolutely, Joe. So we often feel that what we have to say is far more important than what others have to say. Now, I can admit to you that although um, I know some of the tools for effective communication, sometimes if I respond, if I respond without giving it thought, I'm human just like anyone else. Um, I can say the wrong thing, and like I was talking about the toothpaste recently. Once something that's out of your mouth, you can't put it back. So we have to be careful with that. Now, it rarely happens with me, but it can happen because we're all human. But sometimes, if we take the time to listen, to understand, we can actually learn from others. Sometimes we are so biased against other people that we don't want to hear what they have to say. And sometimes, even people that you don't really care too much for can have something to say that could actually help you or someone else. Hey, I said what I said. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining. So, if we eliminate our biases towards others, sometimes that can help. The world is full of poor communication, but we don't have to be one of those people. Outside of finances, many people feel that they don't owe anybody anything. I disagree. I believe that as adults, and especially those my age, close to my age, or older, we owe the younger generation the gift of a good example. So a brother is here and I don't see him either. I think what happened, y'all, is that when I um, went to restart everything, my chat for the vertical disappeared. But I'm going to continue on. Um, Let me speak to Scorp. Hey, Scorp. Happy Thursday. And a brother. Happy Thursday to you as well. Okay, so you don't, well, you wouldn't see him in the regular chat center, but I usually can see both chats on StreamYard. Unfortunately, I can't right now. But let me repeat that I believe that as adults, and especially those my age, close to my age, or older, we owe the younger generation the gift of a good example. In First Corinthians 13 and 11, and this is the NLT version, Paul says, "When I was a child, I spoke and thought as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things." So it's one thing to respond a certain way. Okay, so a brother's not here. Okay. It's one thing to give a childish response when you are a child. It's another to respond like a child when you are and adults. So when we so adults, I give grace to younger people. And the reason why I give grace to younger people, when I say younger, I mean people that are young enough to be my child. I give them grace because I was young at one time and I did some foolish things in my youth. So I think that we're all entitled to have our moments, and hopefully we learn from those mistakes that we make when we're younger. But as we have birthdays, we have to grow up. That's my belief. When adults can't communicate effectively, we teach children to pattern our behavior. Sometimes you may be dealing with someone who's too stubborn to listen. This may warrant simply walking away, at least for a time period. Absolutely, Senna. Absolutely. Is Scorp cracking up in the chat? Anyway, let me let me go on. Um, okay, she says she's stubborn as a mule. This is true, Janice. So, Real says, but people shouldn't be verbally creating conflict either. No fair to people who have dealt with stuff. So, I sympathize with those who have to speak up for themselves. At the same time, you have, the problem, I think, a problem comes in when we are more focused on someone else's behavior than our own. Because it's not necessarily, I always say, it's not my quote, but life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. So if you are um, always arguing with someone, guess what? They're not only wasting your time, they're wasting your energy. And one thing that you can never get back is your time. Your time should be, your time and your peace of mind should be so important to you that you're not going to argue back and forth with anyone. I think it was Cinder said, sometimes you might have to block someone. That's on social media. But in real life, sometimes you just have to, well, you can block. That's why they have caller ID. You can block people. You can not even block them. Just don't answer the call because you have caller ID. Um, you don't have to entertain every argument um, that you're invited to. Sooner or later, if somebody's arguing and you're not responding, they're going to look foolish because it looks like they're arguing with themselves. Exactly. And I don't listen. I've been married almost 37 years, and I don't always agree with my husband, but I don't argue with him either. because I feel like arguing is a waste of my time. Janice says, I'll ignore someone so quick. Talk all you want. It would be a waste of breath for you to argue with me. That's how I feel too, Janice. Joe says, I am so much more peaceful in my life now. That's great, Joe. You can block, but some people will keep creating new and new accounts. So it's pointless, but we can't ignore them at the end of the day. I mean, if someone's continuing to create different accounts, they're the ones that are looking foolish. Center says, no tug of war with me. Argue with yourself. Exactly. Argue with yourself. You look foolish arguing with yourself. If you're talking about me, I'm not responding. Who looks crazy, me or you? Sometimes when we can't talk it out, writing or journaling what we have to say can help with getting things off of our chest. Now, I want to a special, give a special shout out to my peer, SBK, for his live last night. I'm going to starring comments, and then come back to them. But shout out again to my peer, SBK, who did a live um, last night talking about, the famous dress. But SBK said something on his live last night that I didn't necessarily agree with. See, I listened to what he had to say, but I didn't agree with what he had to say. I usually, if I don't agree with what a content creator has to say, I usually don't say anything. But that's not what I did last night. Last night, I voiced my opinion and I told him that I didn't agree with him. And the one thing I like about SBK is he is a he's a let's say he's a nice guy. He's a good guy, and I don't see him flip flopping. He's the same from what I've seen. He's the same all the time, and he kept talking to get his point across. But because, and this is also what I want to say, sometimes um, we can have strong biases against people, and we don't want to. Once we hear someone's name called, we don't want to even hear about that person. I'm not going to give you all, tell you all about the live. Please feel free to go to Tap In Podcast and listen to that live from last night. Tap In Podcast is channel with SBK and ETV. That was their live last night. Wasn't on his personal channel. It was on their channel. But I like the way he handled it. He was saying that, basically you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't agree, which was how I felt. But as I started to think about what he was saying, I was getting his point, but I still have so much bias towards one person in particular that I didn't want to really talk about it anymore. But after the live and earlier today, I was thinking about it, and what he said really did make sense in a way of what he was, the point that he was trying to drive. Now, it still doesn't change my mind about that person. I try to see good and bad. And thank you, Senna. I try to see good and bad, the good as well as the bad in people. But I just, there are just some people that work my nerves. And I'm not going to call the person's name. It's nobody on YouTube, nobody in my family or anybody y'all. If y'all listen to the live, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I appreciate how he handled that conversation, and how he basically agreed to disagree without us feeling any kind of way towards each other. Okay, so the other live is showing. Hey Nestos, happy Thursday. Thank you for joining. So shout out to you, my peer, for not not throwing me out of your chat because I didn't agree with you, and for being a gentleman during the whole conversation, because I've seen it where I've seen from the bushes how some people don't respond in that way. And so I appreciate you showing, being that example to maybe a young person will be listening to the replay, or maybe a young person was listening from the bushes, even though they should have been in bed last night, but maybe they were listening. And what you did was show a good example of how we should respond to one another, even when we disagree. Absolutely, Joe. You don't always have to. If you are always agreeing with somebody on everything, nothing that person says is ever wrong. It's not. It's That's how you feel the same way about everything. Um, I kind of wonder, are you being your true self? If you are saying what you really, how you really feel, or are you doing that just to um, agree because you don't like conflict? You don't have to be in conflict with someone to disagree with them, because we're all human. We all have our own minds, and we don't all um, always think the same way. That's not to say that you're wrong, that and I'm right, or that I'm wrong and you're right. We're all entitled to our opinions. Hey, Cesaria, thank you for joining. Happy Thursday. So again, thank you, SBK, for showing genuine love, and how to communicate effectively. So today's scripture verse comes from James 1:19. Y'all have to excuse my voice. I don't know what's going on, but I'm claiming healing over my voice right now. James 1:19, NLT version. It says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So Nesto says Jamal Bryant isn't a spiritual leader. He and his wife are wannabes, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Jamal has a child with a young lady that turned 18 during her pregnancy. He couldn't lead me. Um, that's how Nestos feels about Jamal Bryant. I wouldn't want Jamal Bryant leading me either, just to be clear. Um, just let the record show that I wouldn't want him to be leading me either. Jamal Bryant came from Baltimore, and there was a lot of um, talk about what he was doing when he was in Baltimore. Scorp says says she need to burn that dress. She can wear it around her home, Scorp, for her husband. Just don't wear it out in public. That's what I say. Hold on for a minute, y'all. I'm back, y'all. I apologize. I had to step away for a minute. Um, Shanice said he has a video saying how he feels about how others feel, and he puts a tone to his response. Yeah, I talked about it a little bit on Monday. I think we have to be careful when we are in a pulpit giving a message. We have to be very careful about that. But again, when it comes to conflict, we should all try to follow what James says, James in chapter 1, verse 19, that we should understand that we should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody steal your peace because they want to argue. Let them argue. Let them argue by themselves. You don't have to entertain every argument that you're invited to. Let them look foolish all by themselves, and you move on with your life and doing what you need to do. Thank you, Senna. I appreciate it. Scorp says, talking about Jamal, look at the church he inherited. We could be here all day talking about that, Scorp. Who that said there's this content creator, excuse me, y'all, who whose usual content is on Royals, and she said what I thought about the dress. It wasn't the color of the dress, but the lines in the dress drawing eyes to her crotch. Listen, y'all didn't see the back of the dress. I ain't gonna say y'all didn't see it. I'm gonna ask the question. Did y'all see the back of the dress? y'all wanna y'all gonna make me talk about this dress some more. Put 3 in the chat if you saw the back of the dress. Nesto says she saw it. I don't want to post it on my. I didn't download the picture, put it in StreamYard. I don't want to put it on my community wall. I'm just gonna let y'all know that the dress to me may be worse from the back than it was in the front. I agree, Scorp. We have to do better. Shanice said, I saw a pink outfit she wore for her wedding, and that was enough backside for me. um, yeah, it's just certain things you don't do um, as members of the clergy. It's just certain things you don't do. I'm going to leave that dress alone because I think they really do want people talking about it. And I think that's the reason for him or whoever purchased the dress for them getting the dress because they knew there would be a conversation piece. That's my belief. Um, Nesto says she's a preacher's goddaughter and she wouldn't wear a dress as so revealing. Yeah, nobody, no woman, um, no woman of God should want to display herself in such a way in public. It almost looks like lingerie to me. So I say if she wants to right center, I say if she wants to wear that dress, wear it with her and her husband alone. Um, but because everybody doesn't need to see that from a first lady or co-pastor. It's just crazy. But I'm going to drop the link, y'all, for anybody who wants to say anything about how you handle conflicts. Feel free to hit the link and to come up on the panel. I'm only going to give a few minutes for anybody who wants to come up. If no one wants to join the panel, that's fine. This will be a short live. As you can see, um, my voice is not at its peak right now, but yeah, but I'm willing to talk to anybody who wants to join the panel. Scorp says a lot of folks lusted after her. They were lusting after her before she even wore that dress, and what she did was made it worse. But like I said, and Senna agree, I think they did that on purpose. Janice said, sometimes things look good on the outside and turn out to be rotten inside. To each his own. Okay? That's what Janice has to say. I can't say that I disagree with that, Janice. She retracted it, but sorry about that. I didn't see that you retracted that before I read it. But it's true what you said. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, you can't always judge a book by its cover. Everything that looks like gold is not gold. It can be painted to look like gold. So, yeah, thank you, Janice. Um, let me pin the link real quick for anyone who may want to join the panel. Oh, it's okay, Janice. Nesto says a woman that requires that much attention is missing something on the inside. That's a word, and I totally agree. If you require that much attention, and she's not um, as looking on the outside, she's not a bad looking woman. So why she needs to wear something like that or dress provocative, I don't know. Um, but I think SBK was saying on his live last night, I believe that somebody said it. I'm not sure if it was him, but somebody said that you should be able to tell the difference between someone who's not in the church and someone who is in the church. And I agree with that. I believe that um, to whom much is given, much is required. And you might like um, certain things, but that doesn't mean that you put them on in public. And I also believe that if you're not for sale, you shouldn't be advertising as though you are for sale. So I'll leave it like that. Absolutely. We're supposed to be set apart. The world should see something different in you if you claim righteousness. So, um, if no one wants to join the panel, I'm going to leave the conversation here because, like I said, they want us to be talking about that dress, y'all. I believe it. That's my strong belief is that they want us to be talking about that dress. And I'm not aiming to please, so I'm going to do my best to not talk about it anymore. Do my best. I hope I don't slip up and say something else about it. But anyway, Senna says she agrees. Excuse me, y'all. So with that said, y'all, I'm going to end this live today. Prayerfully, I'll see you all on Monday. I have something going on Monday, so I'm not sure um, if I will be able to go live at 5 p.m. If not, I'll let you know in advance. Well, in advance, I mean, I'll let you know before you come to my channel at 5 o'clock on Monday looking for a live if I'm not able to go live. If I can go later, I will. But if not, I'll just go live again on next Thursday. Thanks, beautiful Senna. I appreciate you. Nesto says, I've always dressed modest, not too revealing, and the guy I was dating gifted me with an outfit, and it was not that revealing, but it was just above my knees. I got so much attention. I never wore it again. Hmm. Yeah, everybody doesn't like attention like that. But I was sharing with someone earlier that you can, if you are a confident woman, you can put on well, you can wear a trash bag, and there are men that would, um, thank you, Scorp. There are men that would still, what they say, holler at you, no matter what you wear. You don't have to do all of that. So I said I wasn't going to talk about it again. So don't make me talk about it anymore. So thanks again to everybody who showed up for the live. Again, I apologize for the difficulty in the beginning of the live. I don't know what happened, but thank God it was fixed. So thanks again, beautiful Senna, Brill, Pelu, my peer SBK, Real, Yasmin. I still didn't see Larry, but I have him down. MM2, um, Who that, Janice, I said what I said, Scorp, and Nestos. Thank you all for joining the chat. Thanks to everyone who may have been in the bushes. Um, thanks, Scorp. Thanks to everyone who may have been in the bushes. I appreciate your support as well. Thanks to everyone who may be watching the replay. I appreciate your support as well. I understand that we can't always make lives, but I do appreciate you watching the replay. Janice says, unless it's something professional or meeting, I will be in my sweat slides and or sneakers. Okay. You're welcome, Joe. Shout out again to my peer, SBK. Just know that I appreciate you very much. Um, with that said, y'all, you know that God loves you even more than I do. And I really do love you all. Continue to be blessed, but more importantly, continue to be a blessing to someone else. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. May God continue to bless and keep each and every one of you.